Get all up in it like this.
Like that?
Yep.
Can you
right here. And hit my intro music, yo. Okay,
right.
Are y'all ready? We're ready.
I think a lot of the times when people think of an office, they think of the 90s version of The Office, right? Office Space. There are all these movies and things made.
Yeah.
The Office, all these like
Cube
drone,
farm.
just like cube
Yeah.
farm, just not great place to be. All it invokes is just a sense of dread.
Yeah.
Right? Of, man, I don't want to be there. People are changing that. I think my generation a lot has just looked at it and been like, that's not the way I want to spend most of my time. Because you do spend a significant time at work.
Yeah.
I think getting to the point where you've got just a more inviting atmosphere is a good spot. It's part of the puzzle, especially for an office. Having a nice office is great. Having the amenities makes it a little bit better. Having a great walkable place makes it even better. You're trying to build upon each one of those, as opposed to maybe just saying, okay, well, I'll just have a place to work.
All right. So welcome to the InCREdible Leaders podcast. Today we have Ryan Rodriguez as our guest. Welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, it's going to be fun. So the whole purpose of this podcast is to get to know leaders in the industry, specifically commercial real estate, and try to do something a little different and learn from the leaders, learn leadership lessons, but learn it from their whole life story, a lot of context. A lot of podcasts out there, you get quips and snips and, here's my little, leadership fortune cookie quote. But I find that there's so much more value in the whole story.
Yeah.
And so that's where we want to start, and that's what we want to explore with you today.
Sure.
So take me back in the Wayback Machine. Let's start at Little Ryan. Where you were born, where you were raised, and let's start the story there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was born in Alpharetta. I was actually born at the hospital probably about a mile away from here.
No way.
Yeah, so just down the road at North Fulton.
Okay.
First couple of years of my life, we grew up over in Ossie, which is just a little neighborhood in Alpharetta.
Yeah, or Johns Creek now.
Yeah. So then we moved over to Cumming, Georgia.
Yeah.
So I grew up and lived in Forsyth County and all the way up until I got married at 25. So went to school up in North Georgia. It was, just stayed in my bubble, so to speak, until I came down. So
Okay, yeah. I live in Forsyth now.
Do you?
Yeah, so near the Lambert High School district.
Oh, yeah. I actually saw your post the other day about had Lambert. I think it was maybe yesterday.
That's right.
Had something for your son.
Yeah, I have a graduate.
Congratulations.
Yeah, she graduates Tuesday, like next Tuesday. So
Nice.
Which is nuts. Do you have kids?
I have 3.
Okay, so I have 4. She's the oldest. And it really does. Like they say time goes by fast, and it's the years are short, but the days are long. I think that's very true. But man, I can remember, now 18 years ago when she was born, that first drive home from the hospital. I think everybody remembers that, but man, like, I'm driving like a grandma. I'm so safe and I've got this precious little thing that is brand new to us and has rocked my world in all the best ways. But now she's graduating and it's so weird.
Kids give you perspective
Yeah.
on what matters and what doesn't.
Yeah, big time. Okay, so you were raised here in Georgia.
Absolutely.
Went to high school in Forsyth County.
Yep.
College, did you do anything?
So I went to North Georgia.
Okay, yeah.
So ended up going, I was at the Gainesville campus for a little bit and then went to the Dahlonega campus, finished out there. Met my wife while I was at North Georgia. We were both part of a college small group at 12 Stone in Lawrenceville.
Yeah.
And she went to Georgia State and we met there, and literally the 3 weeks after we graduated, we both ended up getting married in Dahlonega, obviously.
Yeah, got
And
it.
so it was great. And we've been together 13 years now.
Got it. Okay, so 13 years married, 3 kiddos.
3 kids.
Okay, how old are they?
About to be 6 on Father's Day.
Okay,
So my oldest was actually born on Father's Day,
got it.
which was great.
That's
and actually
pretty cool.
That was while I was at 5Q at the time. And then my middle child just turned 4, Hudson. And then my youngest is 9 months, Everly.
Okay, so
we got a
boy,
split.
boy, girl.
Boy, girl.
All right, got it. Yeah, I'm 2 of each.
Nice.
My second is Hudson as well.
Nice. Good name.
Yeah, oh yeah, I like it. He's in 10th grade. So talk to me about being a dad. I know for me, that was one of the very first real big pivots in, I would call, my maturation. What did becoming a dad mean for you? How did that change you?
It changes a lot of your perspective on what really matters. And I sort of said that earlier. It was like, it makes you think about, okay, how do I want to do this? What am I doing work for? Like when you're young and it's just you and your wife, you and your significant other, and you're hanging out, you're just living life. You're going every day. You do whatever you want to do.
Right.
We'd go out, we'd go hiking, go to breweries, we'd take great trips overseas. It was all the like stuff that you're doing for fun.
Yeah.
When you have kids, it really takes it to another level of, okay, well, now we're focusing on our child. What do we want to do with them? How will it be fun for us to do as a family? How can I create memories and think of how I can prepare them for life? Yeah. And so that starts, it literally for us started when the day that they were born of like, well, how can I prep? Let's start saving for college. Let's really make sure that we've got everything buttoned down so that we're able to prep them for life the best we can. And so your perspective changes.
Yeah.
And it helps. It definitely shifted my perspective at work to be more, okay, how can I do the same thing here and build and prep my kids, and then also build and prep our life at work too, right? So it sort of helped translate a lot of those skills that maybe I had but weren't polished yet.
Yeah.
And, having kids would make you get polished real quick. It'd make you figure it out.
Polishing, yeah.
Yeah, and you never really, it's an ongoing thing, right? You're always trying to mature and trying to figure that out, and what's the next thing that we have to do and the next thing that we have to prepare for. Yeah. It translated over, honestly, more than I thought it ever would to an office job and really leading people.
Yeah, I feel the exact same way. When we had Caitlin, our oldest, as you just said, life pivoted from what I would describe as it was mostly about me and my own desires, ambitions, whatever. It wasn't just me. It was me and my wife. But it was just more self-focused. But the moment she was born, it instantly changed, that I had this other thing that I wanted to live for and do things for and be about. And I think that was a very good first step for me in maturing and not being as self-centered. The second one happened on a professional level when I went from individual contributor to a leadership role. And it was a very similar mindset and frame shift, from being self-focused and about your own goals to about other people and other things, which I think is just a very helpful progression, especially maybe for some of us who are prone to self-promote and are good at it. We probably need some of that humility to come into our lives and give us that other perspective. At least I did.
It grows you. Again, we talked about it in parenthood. It's like you're instead moving towards trying to make somebody else better. And that's what leadership is too. Like you've got your team. Instead of you trying to make yourself better, you are in turn as a leader when you do that, but you're trying to make your team work the best that they can. So you're responsible for your team and their success. And yes, they've got personal responsibility of doing that as well. But you as a leader are supposed to draw that out of them and try and make it happen. Yeah,
so one of the things that I thought I had figured out, so Caitlin comes and so I'm like, okay, that's what a baby girl is like.
Sure, yeah.
And then Hudson comes and I'm like, okay, that's what a baby boy is like, and boys are just very different from girls. Got it. Scarlett comes along, girl, nothing like the other girl. And I'm like, hold on, wait, I thought we had this figured out. I thought girls were like that, and she's so different. And then Lincoln comes along, the fourth, and wait, he's a boy, and he's not like this other boy, and he's not like either one of the girls. And all of a sudden, everything I thought I had figured out on this whole, like, boys are like this and girls are like this continuum was blown out of the water. And so you have to treat them differently. You have to parent them differently. And there's a lot of parallels to business leadership in that story, because all of your people are different. Every one of them have their own stories, their own personalities, their own goals and ambitions, their own wiring, and you, similar to if you try to parent them all the same, it's not going to go well. If you try to lead your team all the same, it doesn't go well.
I agree. Yeah.
And that's hard. I find it hard. I like to be consistent, and yet you really have to adjust yourself to every individual and get to know them and change who you are and how you communicate based on that individual,
Absolutely.
which is tough. So as I was prepping for this little podcast here, I learned some things. So you started professionally in the managed services world at a company called Becca, I think?
Yeah. Business Equipment Center of Atlanta. It's a very old MSP for Atlanta.
Yeah. So when I was at a previous company, I called on Becca.
Oh, did you really?
And got to know, I'm trying to remember his name, the owner.
Mike Estep.
Mike Estep. That's right, Estep.
Yep.
And then when I went into the commercial real estate on the broker side, that firm, Mike Estep and Becca, was a client of theirs. And so I'm familiar with that. I like that commonality in our stories. So was that your first foray into technology?
So I started out at a small computer shop just working on PCs, break fix. People would bring in a PC, it would be riddled with whatever, and we'd fix it and make sure it's good.
What was it riddled with?
Just viruses.
Were people
the usual
downloading
stuff.
things?
I know. It's like they don't understand, that some things are bad or that some things are out to get them.
Yeah. Was this in the days of like LimeWire and things like that?
100%. You give your computer cancer. I mean, it was bad.
I don't know anything about that. I just have heard.
So we did that, and that was like my first sort of foray into technology. I had worked on PCs and did that in college and just sort of helped out people, so it sort of was inherent.
Yeah.
Did that, then was hired on at a place called Brant, and we did support for the DNR for Georgia, so the Department of Natural Resources.
Yeah.
And then moved on to Becca, and that was sort of where I cut my teeth, and Mike gave me a good opportunity to get into the MSP industry, get into the help desk, sort of see what I needed to do and how to survive there, basically, because a lot of the time MSP, it's just volume. It's just a lot of questions, a lot of answers. You're working for so many different companies. You have to learn so many different setups. So it's really good for you as a young person to try and figure out what you want to do and how you want to do it.
Yeah.
What works, what doesn't work. Worked there for right at 2 years before I came over to 5Q.
Okay.
So, and then worked for 5Q for 6 years.
Okay. And what did you do at 5Q?
So I started, we were a total of 8 people. When I started, it was the 5 partners and then a network engineer named Brad and then a network engineer named Chris Kearns and then myself.
Wow.
And
you were employee number 8?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's cool.
That was way back in 2016, February of 2016.
Yeah.
So
for context, I think I was employee 103 or something.
Yeah.
So that's crazy.
It was a while back. We had just brought on Piedmont. We had a couple other smaller companies, EcoVest and a marketing firm called Trevelino Keller, a little bit outside the realm there.
Yeah.
But it was good. It was a small opportunity. We worked really well together. It was sort of like we were a little family, right? We all talked. I mean, everybody did everything. There was
8 people.
There was no separation of duties really at that point. It was Chris and I manning the help desk and doing that. So I helped start off doing just basic help desk support.
Yep.
We built that out as we continued to grow because small companies do, and we were good at our job, and we also focused on real estate, which was something that a lot of other people hadn't done. So we grew pretty quickly. Yep. And so we had the help desk grow from Chris and I. Then Chris moved over to the network operations center. It was just me. And then we hired 4 people within a year on that help desk. And so I was then promoted to the help desk team lead.
Okay.
And helped build out that team. That was sort of my first foray into true leadership.
Yeah.
We had to try and figure out how to do things, figure out schedules. We started hiring people who didn't live in the state.
Oh. Remote back then was kind of a new concept.
We had SRS and Cypress Equities was our first out-of-state true out-of-state client where their headquarters was not here.
Yeah.
And we had 2 people who got hired on there. One who still works at 5Q named Chris Salmon.
Yeah.
So, and Ashley Thomas back in the day. And so I actually went out there with Scott Smith, who also still works at 5Q,
Right.
to go train them and do that. So it was my first real big foray into leading
Yeah.
a team and trying to get everybody on the same page. It was a good learning experience.
Yeah. So one of the things I want to talk about here is those learning experiences. Unfortunately, the way that life works out, we typically don't learn from this went easy, this went great.
Mm-hmm.
We learn from the mistakes and the missteps. And
Sure.
so as you think back to that first step into leadership, what would be one thing as you reflect on that is maybe we'll call it a mistake, whatever we want to label it, but a place where you grew from it and learned from it?
We had some challenging personalities back in the day. And I was new to interviewing and new to hiring, and Trey and team gave me a good step of being part of that interview process. And I wish that I had worked a little bit harder to build those people up. And I consider the fact that maybe they didn't work out as being something that I could have done better to try and help them get there.
Yeah.
Maybe I could have been a little bit more on the teaching side. And I was a young leader. I was trying to figure things out just as well as they were. So maybe I could have led them a little bit better in their path. Maybe things would have turned out differently. Maybe things would have turned out the same. But that's definitely something I think about and that I've grown as I get experience doing. I'm sure a lot of people at 5Q I helped interview, some of the older folks. So they remember my interview process being pretty stringent at the very beginning part of it as we were going through, and I'm sure they'd all love to tell that story back in the day.
Yeah, we'll get them on the pod at some point.
Oh, sure.
But it's not unlike parenting. You know, like our older 2 kids will tell you openly right now that our younger 2 kids are getting a whole different experience than they got. There's a 3-year gap. I mean, it's not like this is like, you know, a 10-year gap between kiddos. But they're not wrong in that we didn't know what we didn't know with those first couple, and we were just trying to figure it out. And you try things, and some of it works, and some of it doesn't, and you refine, and you get better, and hopefully we're growing and getting better. And like you just described, interviews in year 10 of your career should be better than interviews of year 1.
Oh, yeah.
And so, but it is... Sometimes it's hard to look back. I think back to hiring is one of the hardest things I think that we do. I look for 3 components: skill, will, and likability, or it factor. And the skill part you can interview pretty well too, and the likability part comes across pretty naturally. But that will part is that piece that I find very hard to uncover in the interview process.
Yeah. I look for, and this is something that I know Rob Schmidt's probably going to smile about it, but this is something that I still use, and I've got a little, show that you care on my desk, a little piece of paper, show that you care today.
Yeah.
And so that's what I look for when I interview now, is
Okay.
I can teach you the technical stuff.
Yep.
The technical stuff isn't hard. It's something that can be learned, Googled for fact. I mean, it's something that you can figure out on the way and on the job. I look for the person who shows me that they care, that they want to do a good job, that they're trying to figure out and trying to get better.
Yeah.
I can't teach that. I can't teach you to do that aspect of your job, to want to be better, to want to try and keep moving forward.
How do you flesh that out in an interview? That feels like it would be hard.
Yeah, it's a little difficult. We've had missteps just like anybody else has, where somebody looks like they're probably good and they turned out not to be. You figure it out the first couple months of the job real quick.
Yeah.
But my thing is sort of seeing where people are going, what they want to do, and how they want to get into it, right? So David Heffley is a good example. He works for 5Q. He's moved up. He's, I think, a Tier 2 lead now. He started off on Piedmont's help desk. He was coming from a background of having a little bit of IT experience, but changing careers. And so you could tell he was hungry and wanted to get it and move on, and kept, as much as you would give him, he would continue to eat it up and get more.
Yeah.
that is something that I recognized a little bit when I was talking to him. He's like, oh, well, I tried to learn this, I tried to learn that, and he's just keeps on going. I mean, that's the type of thing that you want to see. Darren Russell's another one. He came up and he knew very little about network infrastructure. And when we hired him, Chris Kearns taught him everything, hungry, kept on eating it up, kept on learning, and really developed his skills. And he's a very talented network operator now.
Yeah, love it. We've got this little friend on the table with us here. It's a green, looks like a good dinosaur.
It is the Good Dinosaur.
Why is it here?
We have we had a incident back in the day when we were doing network support for. I can't stop looking at it. When we were doing network support for a multifamily company, who I won't name,
Not to be named.
but we were doing network support for them, and we had just started installing Meraki's and doing network support and really cranking down on videos. And people like to go on public networks and torrent things. And so there was quite a bit of salacious videos on that list.
Oh.
And then the only thing that was not that was the Good Dinosaur. So I was like, oh, well, at least they got something for their kids. But
So they were downloading.
yeah, they were torrenting videos illegally on a public network. And it was a lot of not good videos, and then the Good Dinosaur. So Trey memorialized it by buying the Good Dinosaur figure that we kept in the office for a long time as a reminder of that story.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
Yeah. It was different.
Yeah.
Things were different back then. We were the Wild West.
Yeah, I don't know if they're that different. I mean, people are still downloading things. They just call it phishing now, and
fair enough.
give away the accounting information. But
Yeah.
tomato. All right, so you were at 5Q. At some point, you weren't, and you are now at Piedmont.
Yep.
So how did that come about?
So in 2018, I started working in what y'all call Lead RE now. We used to call it Leadership Services.
Yeah, fractional leadership.
Correct, with Rob Schmidt. And so I was like, I want to become the leadership part. I don't want to go down the technical part anymore. I want to really lead people. I'm doing that now.
Yeah.
I'd like to really move in and see how that works. So Rob got me a basically like a beginner leader job over at Piedmont.
Okay.
And so I started doing fractional
I
work
really
for,
like the hand motions there.
for Dan Arnold, who he was formerly Cousins CIO. He worked at 5Q for a little bit and then was the VP of IT at Piedmont.
Got it.
They really grew me and let me learn and let me really figure out. I was part of the meetings. I got to figure out how to make tasks move forward, building out project pipelines, building out a plan for the year or the next year, making sure that the leadership plan made sense, and then communicating that to the executive team. So I really learned a lot during that part. As I grew at 5Q, I started doing director leadership outsourced for others. Pegasus being one of them, EcoVest, a few other companies. And then as I moved on to that, I was approached by Piedmont and the CFO at the time, Bobby Bowers, that they would like to have a plan. As Dan was going to retire, they wanted to have a leadership plan in place ahead of time so that I could learn from them. And I was sort of the natural fit, had been there for a long time, knew Piedmont, knew all the users, and knew how Piedmont operated. So I took the job at Piedmont as Dan was going to retire. Dan retired, and now I'm the VP of IT at Piedmont. So it was a good transition for me as an employee.
Yeah, that's awesome. As you look back, how did your time at 5Q prepare you for what you are doing now at Piedmont?
So I'd say I learned from good leaders, right? So Trey and Rob were great at teaching me a lot of stuff as I moved on. They were my direct bosses for a long time. Trey was my first boss at 5Q, then Scott, then Rob, then Trey again as we moved on and restructured the organization. So I learned from people who had been there before, and that to me is something that a lot of people try and forget. Right, is that there's a lot to be learned from the people who did stuff before you. So Trey and Rob have been in real estate back in Wells days for quite a while. So I try to learn from them, learn how they led, because I liked how they led. I liked how they gave me feedback. I liked how they taught me different things. So I try to learn from them. They really prepped me to be a good leader at Piedmont. I've got a couple employees who are on staff. We obviously have a help desk through 5Q that I try and mentor and teach and lead through that as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they've taught me a lot. The work also teaches you a lot. It's an MSP.
Yeah.
You have a volume and you're expected to keep up with it, right? Because you're that vendor, you're that partner that's there, and they want you to keep up with the work and keep things humming. So it can be a lot. So learn from there, learn from volume as well.
Talk to me about feedback. You said that you really appreciated the way they gave feedback. You try to learn from some of that. What does good feedback look like to you?
We talk about this a lot at Piedmont too, right? Because we're trying to figure out how we can grow our team, make sure that they feel accomplished. We talk about placemaking and being placemakers. So that is something that Piedmont's working through internally, of how can we make sure that Piedmont is a place that people want to work, that Piedmont's a place where people want to come and be tenants. It really is trying to make sure that everybody is welcome, that they feel like they're doing a good job, that they understand. So to go back to the question, to really give people feedback, in my opinion, I take verbal feedback very well. Like, I appreciate somebody telling me that I did a good job, that they like where I'm going, that they like how we're doing things, and that we're handling it well. Not everybody's that way. I have a few on my team that maybe prefer feedback other ways, right? People always love to get a raise.
Yeah.
So that's a way that you can give feedback to say, hey, you're doing a good job. I really appreciate it. But making sure that people feel heard, making sure that people feel like you care about them as a person, not just as somebody who does a job. I feel like a lot of leaders lose that perspective that people work for them and not just, worker bees.
Yeah.
People have all sorts of stuff going on at home. I try and make sure that I connect with people on that level as well. It's very easy to get stuck in the day-to-day and forget that everybody has a life outside of work. And so it's easy to say, hey, we have a job to get here done. But people also have a life outside. And again, we go back to the family thing. I think about that often. It's like, well, I want to spend time with my kids. My guys want to spend time doing other things with their families, with their hobbies and things that they want to do. Let's not be so ratcheted down and focused on work that we're not building people outside of work too.
That all sounds like it's a buzzword, but it's a real one, culture. Setting a tone and a culture that the people are real humans, and there's a whole human there, and not just the worker human, but there's a family human and a community human, and more of a holistic view of them than just what they produce at work.
Yep.
That's what I'm hearing.
Absolutely.
Piedmont is mostly or solely office, correct?
That's correct, all office.
One of the struggles that I see in the industry is leaders like yourself trying to get get the attention of upper management on the importance of technology in real estate.
Yeah.
And I feel like you've had an even higher, or steeper, I should say, uphill battle, because you're fighting a battle of needing some budget and things like that for technology, not only in real estate, but in office real estate post-pandemic, when the office hasn't necessarily been in vogue. How have you navigated those waters, and how have your peers in the industry that are in that office real estate side of things, how are they navigating these waters?
So for us, as a culture for Piedmont, I've got a great executive culture. They want to spend money to make sure that we're secure. That's something that has been embedded in there. I've got executive leadership okay on that.
Okay, so you got their buy-in from the beginning.
Everybody buys in, everybody's okay with it, and the board level especially, they want to make sure that Piedmont's secure. We're a public company, so we don't want, obviously, any incidents or anything like that.
Sure.
The buy-in there is good. The office buy-in as a whole, when you talk about the sector, this is where Piedmont, we're sort of separating ourselves.
Yeah.
We're going in there and trying to provide the highest level that we can for our tenants. We want it to be like the Ritz Carlton of offices.
Yeah.
So come in, security knows your name, security says, hey, how you doing? Make sure that people feel at home, provide the amenities that people love. So Galleria is one of our properties. If you've ever been to Galleria, you'll notice that it is very beautiful and very well done. We've got restaurants, high-end restaurants. We've got great places to have lunch. There's a KinderCare right there. There's a full gym in there. There's a Starbucks for people to have.
Yep.
And that's really separated us as an office REIT of trying to provide that high-end, high-level service where people want to come and be back in the office. I think there's some realism there, right? I work in the office. I understand that not everybody goes in 4 or 5 days a week like I do. Some people are hybrid, but I do believe that there is some collaboration and something to be gained by seeing somebody face to face. I do like remote. I'm not going to say that I don't.
Sure.
But having that face to face collaboration, being in a place where you have these amenities, you have these things, softens the blow of people who want to do remote work.
Yeah, yeah. One of the themes that I'm hearing in your story right there that you explained, and what I hear from a lot of multifamily who are trying to also differentiate themselves, is what you would say is tenant experience, what they would say is resident experience, and it's you're really trying to separate from the pack by bringing a very elevated experience to your tenants or to their residents. Mm-hmm. I think that plays really well in today's marketplace where, as you said, not everybody wants to go into the office, but if they do, they want it to be a draw. They want it to compete and or be something better than home, because it's hard to beat a lot of the nice things about staying at home and working from home. And so if you do want to attract those tenants, you've got to have a place that makes them want to come at least a couple days a week.
Yeah, I think it's translated a lot. If you look at like our leasing numbers, we're leasing better than we were pre-pandemic.
Wow.
So
That's encouraging.
Correct. So the investments that we've made in the buildings to make sure that they are very nice, very pretty, very welcoming, and then also the culture that we've put in place of placemaking to make sure that people feel like, hey, this is a place I want to be. This is a place I want to go to every day. It's got the amenities. It's got what I want it to be there. It's a great place. The commute's easy. The locations are great. So you talk about, again, I bring up Galleria again because it is a great location. Yeah. People can go walk across to the Battery to go see a Braves game after work and come and park there and make sure that everything's good if they want to go after work. I mean, it's a great feel. I mean, especially going out and having lunch in the park and just enjoying that. Those type of things are things that we look for and try and do in our communities.
So it seems to me that it's almost like hearkening back to, we went through a period in our society where community wasn't as important as efficiencies or economies of scale or some of these other things like that. But now it seems like you're calling it placemaking. Other people are talking about just building a sense of community. It feels like that's making a resurgence. What do you guys attribute to that? Why are we headed that direction? What's causing it?
I think a lot of the times when people think of an office, they think of the 90s version of The Office, right? Office Space. There are all these movies and things made. Yeah. The Office, all these like
Cube farms.
Just like Cube Farm, just not great place to be. All it invokes is just a sense of dread, right? Of man, I don't want to be there. People are changing that. I think my generation a lot has just looked at it and been like, that's not the way I want to spend most of my time, because you do spend a significant time at work.
Yeah.
I think getting to the point where you've got just a more inviting atmosphere is a good spot. And again, it's part of the puzzle, right? Especially for an office. Having a nice office is great. Having the amenities makes it a little bit better. Having a great walkable place makes it even better. You're trying to build upon each one of those, as opposed to maybe just saying, okay, well, I'll just have a place to work. I mean, you guys have a new office here. It looks great. Honestly, our old office was wonderful, but this looks very much more light, cleaner, everybody's open, everybody's able to see each other.
Yep.
When you come in, you feel welcomed. That's important. And it's important for an office. It's important for an office building as well, right?
Yeah.
We're controlling the building part of it, and our tenants control their tenant build-out space, and we provide them, TI to help build that out as well.
Sure.
So, but yeah, just more inviting, better service.
Where do you see technology? How is it playing a role in that today? And where do you see technology in the next couple of years going in these nicer buildings?
I think technology plays a part in making the tenant experience better. We're from Atlanta. We got Chick-fil-A. If you're not making the chicken, you better be helping somebody who's making the chicken, right? Because that's what makes the money for the business.
Yeah.
So technology should enable the tenants, enable asset management, enable property management to do a better job for the tenants. Whether that's providing better technology in the fitness centers, providing better technology on the BMS side so that everybody's more comfortable and we're more efficient in how we run the building. Better security technology overall. Again, we should be enabling everybody to do a better job to service the tenants. That goes all the way to applications for the building and making sure that people can see what we're doing from an experience standpoint.
Yeah, I hear a lot these days of buildings, property management coming up with their own app for their building, so that all the amenities are in one place. They can reserve conference rooms or do whatever else on an app. Is that trending? Is that past trend? Like, where do you see that piece?
I would say it's still trending. We've got a few for our larger projects that we have. They're good apps. They provide the ability to, again, like you talked about, book a conference room, see what's going on. We do a lot of events out in the park or out in the building to try and get everybody involved and have something fun to do at the building. So it's a good space for it. I don't think any one person has nailed it in terms of applications, right? There's always like, well, this one's great, but it doesn't do X.
Yeah.
This one does X, but it doesn't do Y. And so nobody that I've seen has really come and hit a home run yet. I think everybody's trying to get there, and I think in the next year or two, you're going to see people getting there. I think a lot of people are probably thinking about building in-house, and so that's another thing that we have to think about, and especially as AI helps people code a little bit better, build apps better, that's possible, but I think we're still in the infancy of it. And as you know, real estate's slow to react,
Right.
So we'll probably be a little bit behind everybody else as they go in that.
Yeah. So you brought it up. Let's talk real quick about that, which I think is a much maligned buzzword of AI. But it is everywhere. Our employees are using it. Our tenants are using it. Everybody's dabbling in AI. Where do you see AI fitting into your world at Piedmont?
So we obviously want to leverage AI, right? We want to leverage the good parts of it that help us. So we've been leveraging it in our SaaS and security-based operations already. So if our SaaS products have it, we try and use it. Smart AP, scanning of invoices as it comes in, help us gain a little bit of efficiency there, help us on the security side to go look for anomalies that happen so that we can track issues better.
Yeah.
The overall use, I think, it's difficult. You want to see a return, and everybody's like, oh, AI. I don't necessarily know that AI has given a true return on value that anybody's truly measured in the real estate industry. We talk about productivity and efficiency gains. Those are great things.
Yeah.
Having it take notes during meetings and give you a little bit more polished afterwards is great.
Yeah.
How does AI make money for the business? I haven't seen it yet. Lease abstraction products are great. That's probably the best use case that I've seen for real estate specific, but I haven't really seen it say, hey, if I implement AI today, I can make X amount of money back for the organization and show it that way. It's difficult to measure where it is. And so for our industry, I think we'll probably see more and more things come up, but I don't necessarily know that we're going to get that return on dollar yet. It's coming. I'm sure something's going to show up and it's going to prove me wrong.
Yeah.
And I hope that it does.
Well, everybody's efforting for that.
Correct.
I mean, every PMS out there, every property management system out there is trying to get that edge with adding AI to their system to give those insights to their clients to have an edge and hopefully find some hidden dollars and value, like you're talking about.
It's a buzzword for sure, but it's also something that could make lives easier. I think it's more of a productivity tool than anything else.
Yeah.
It's definitely good at breaking down SOC 2 reports. So I get, we're public, I have to get a lot of SOC 2 reports. They're hundreds of pages.
Right.
I'd rather get a breakdown of, hey, tell me where the findings are, tell me what the auditor thinks, and how well this was done.
Yeah.
And it gives me the breakout real quick, helps save me a little bit of time. Those are good productivity gains.
Yeah.
I'm looking for the app or the very specific thing that it does that is going to help me. Like it does this process and makes this process better and easier for us all.
Right.
We'll see.
We'll see.
I'm excited to see it. We're going to a conference here at the beginning of June in Realcomm. I'm excited to get that and see what is out there. AI is definitely going to be obviously a big focus of the conference. So I'm excited to see what vendors have to offer.
Yeah, it's been interesting at all the conferences over the last 2 years. 2 years ago, it was just everything was just AI was slapped on it so that it marketed. Mm-hmm. Over the last 6 months, the conferences, the conversation has changed to AI is everywhere. It's table stakes. How do we actually use AI for value? Mm-hmm. And that is, I think, finally, instead of it being the shiny new toy, it's now getting to that place where you just called it out is, okay, it's embedded in so many of our things, but show me the real value and where is this going to accelerate my business?
Yeah.
And I think we're all waiting and cautiously optimistic that that will happen.
Yeah. I mean, my biggest worry with it all is the security part of it. So we always talk about integrating. Trying to gain the efficiencies, and then you look at the security aspect of it, and the security aspect is not there.
But nobody's really talking about that.
Well, with AI, we're enabling shadow IT, right? We always talk about controlling. The past probably decade has been, how do we control shadow IT? How do we get all the IT covered under one roof so that we're watching it, we're monitoring it, we're providing access to it, we're controlling it? With AI, a lot of times we're just providing shadow IT to people to do whatever they want, especially agentic AI. I mean, you get to that point where it can go in and really mess things up. You're providing your users a tool that could potentially harm your organization. You want to make sure that you got the policies in place, the procedures in place, and the access in place. For us, Copilot's done it's a good starter product.
Yep.
For that. There's obviously better products that are more suited for certain things, but Copilot's got that integration within our office that makes it a little bit easier and friendly to use for everybody.
Yeah.
And allows us to secure it based on access permissions.
Yeah.
Which is important.
Huge.
I don't want somebody to go in and say, oh, I've got this great idea to write this, and then rewrite our entire file infrastructure or delete an app. That would be non-ideal.
Yeah, yeah,
for sure,
to say the least. One of our colleagues, Jeff Ewing, states when talking about AI, he states it this way, and I think it's a really great analogy. He says, if you think of AI as an intern, then you're thinking about it the right way. Meaning, if you would give the intern access to whatever, then that's a great place where you can use AI. But if you would not give an intern that access or the lack of controls, then that's probably where you need to hold some caution with AI.
I know Jeff well, and he's right. You want to make sure that you're thinking about it the right way. That AI is smart, but AI can be very dumb, right? AI can hallucinate and be wrong. And so you don't want it to be wrong on a very important system. So he's 100% right. If you're not going to give the intern access, I definitely wouldn't give AI access.
I don't have an answer for this. I'm curious. At some point, humans have to come back and verify what AI is doing because of the threat of a hallucination.
Yep.
Or that it just crawled into something that it wasn't supposed to. Or how whatever that latest version of Anthropic was that they wouldn't even release because it found all these gaps and holes that they're like, well, if we release this, then now all of a sudden hackers have a roadmap into all these vulnerabilities. It's a weird world on how to manage all of that and to do it well.
Yeah. I don't think there's any perfect approach. I think the best approach is put up as many walls as you can. It's just the same thing as cybersecurity. We're trying to put up as many walls as we can, as many moats. If somebody really wants to get over the moats and they're dedicated, they're going to get through there.
Yeah.
But we're trying to keep the ease or the amateur out. We don't want to be easy picking.
Yeah.
We want to be somebody who's at least buttoned up enough to where it's difficult and we can actually show that we've put the moats and the walls in place.
Yeah.
So I think it's the same thing with AI. It's you've got to button yourself up the best you can and be very intentional with how you're rolling it out and who you're rolling it out to and what you want it to do.
Yeah.
We have a technology advisory committee that we run a lot of this by. It's a group of all sorts of different departments. I made sure that each department has a representative there. It's so that everybody gets feedback, and so everybody's feeding into this opinion so that we all make the right decision for the company. You don't have somebody going rogue and just making a decision for a lot of people.
Yeah. Let's switch gears for a second.
Okay.
So we've been talking about business.
Sure.
We started on family and early life. You mentioned one thing that we skipped over, and I'm curious about it. You said you and your wife met at 12 Stones, which I believe is a church.
It is.
How or does faith inform some of these big areas of your life, like marriage, like parenting, like leading?
So it's definitely a love type of game, right? So you have to show love to everybody, especially obviously you show love to your wife, you show love to your family. It's a different type of love that you're showing to your friends, your coworkers. You have to make sure that you love the people that you're around and that you definitely show love. It definitely informs the leadership role. We were both small group leaders for a long time in our college ministry, and then have since obviously left that and are just attendees now.
Yeah.
But it's definitely informed me of the way that I lead my marriage is to love my wife, right? If I love her and I make sure that she's cared for, then everything's great. It's when I forget that step of well, I need to make sure that I'm treating Erica, that I'm leading Erica, that I'm doing what needs to be done. That's when you start to have, okay, you have an argument here and there, but we all see the end goal of, hey, we're together, we're in this together, we're building out a team.
Yeah.
You lead that into work as well, right? Of, hey, we're all going for a common goal. Let's make sure that we're all on the right seat on the bus and that we're all moving towards that goal. It translates really easily into that. If you can care and move into that role and be the person who cares enough to lead and cares enough about everybody to move it forward, then it sort of works itself out.
So show that you care.
Show that you care.
Yeah.
Today.
Yeah. No, I love it, man. That's awesome. Couple other questions as we wrap up. I try to ask these of everybody that comes on. So first question. We've talked about a lot of this, but if you could sum it up in this question, what does effective leadership look like to you in this season of your life?
So to me, effective leadership is having a well-oiled team, right? A well-maintained team that is able to achieve its goals that it sets forth. If you can achieve the goals that you set forth of your team, and your team is happy doing the right things and they're achieving their personal goals as well, you're making the company move forward, you're making everything do what it needs to do, and you're doing it well, that is effective leadership. You're essentially setting a goal and hitting it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people forget that. You have to have a goal. It has to be realistic. And if you don't hit it, you have to know why you didn't hit it and then make it better the next time.
Yeah. Keep it simple.
Yeah.
Okay. This one's a little harder, but I think it's a really important question. When are you the most proud of yourself at work?
I try not to think about myself a lot at work because I don't think that that's a healthy mindset to be sort of self-obsessed. I think people get annoyed with those people really easily.
Sure.
So much so that I left myself off a list of people who contributed to a project the other day that we were posting on our little newsletter.
Yeah.
My CFO let me know that. She's like, you're not on there, and you need to be on there.
Yeah.
But I'm proud of myself most when I look at a project that we're completing. I mean, we just did a huge ERP migration. And I look at the team, and they're just humming.
Yeah.
They're doing a great job. We're knocking things out. We implemented on time, less than a year, a giant ERP migration. I mean, it was monumental, and that team did an excellent job. So I stepped back this week, and I looked, and I was like, man, this team is great. It really made me feel good. It made me feel like we made the right decision. I've got the right people on the team. They're happy. They're doing what they need to do to get it done. So that'd probably be the most proud I was.
Yeah.
And it was for my team that we were able to do that. I mean, it was a big project, and so
Yeah.
it took a lot of people.
I love that answer because it just comes across as so real in that there's always a battle. We know we shouldn't be self-focused and we shouldn't be self-promoting, and have pride in ourselves is somewhat wrong, headed towards arrogance. None of that's good. But on some level, we have to take the time and reflect on the places where we have won, and the places where we have achieved, and the places where we can be proud of ourselves. I think as achievers, too often we keep moving the goalpost. Like, we want to achieve this, and the moment you do, you don't take a second. I don't take a second to really be proud of that because I've already set the next milestone, and you just get to the business of heading towards that next milestone. And then when you hit that one, you don't necessarily sit there and look at it and reflect and what have I learned and how can I be proud of myself here? You just set the next target and start working towards it. And so I do think it's important that in a healthy way we sit and reflect every once in a while. Like, man, look at what we just did.
I'm guilty of it too.
Yeah.
Of just moving things forward and forgetting to look back and say how great we've done and look at the things that we've achieved so far. I think that there's introspection that needs to be built into your leadership as you go through. So it's definitely something that we could all improve upon.
Yeah, agreed. So last question. We alluded to it earlier, but most of the growth that we get, unfortunately, comes in the hard times. So think back, personal, professional, either one. Talk to me, if you don't mind, just be a little vulnerable about one of those hard times that you went through and some of the lessons that you learned.
We had a time early in our marriage where I had left a job, and so I was without work for a little bit trying to figure that out because we weren't happy, and the job wasn't what we needed it to be. Erica had also been in the same boat, and she was going back to what felt like a step back for her to try and figure out what she wanted to do. She's a nurse now, so she figured it out. She's great. She's got her career, but we were still so early on in our marriage and trying to figure that out. And then we had the death of her stepfather as well. So we had all this stuff just culminating into a very hard time in our marriage, a very hard time for us. And I think to sit back, to look, to understand what's going on, take it in, because everybody has difficult times, everybody's running through it. But to try and sort out and move things forward and figure out the plan was difficult. It's difficult to see, how's this going to work out? How am I going to pay the rent at the end of this month? We were just trying to figure everything out. How am I going to take care of my family, my wife, going through this difficult time? And that was a time when I learned that sort of buckling down, figuring out what we need to do, and just say, all right, well, I'm the leader of this family. I'm the leader of where we're at. We're going to do this together. We need to do X, Y, Z in order to move things forward. And just, again, we talked about love and caring. That's where that comes in. It's a mishmash of just a whole bunch of stuff. But caring, moving things forward, trying to make sure that I'm loving my wife, my family, and doing that. it was a difficult time, but doing those things, trying to figure out the path forward and just sort of saying, this is just sort of what we got to do, and moving it forward that was probably the most growth during that season. That was a hard season.
Yeah.
But now I look back, I'm like, yes, it was hard. We miss Brian a lot, but it was just something that we've moved forward in, and I'm just proud of Eric and I for really pushing in and digging in, just loving each other and moving forward. Now we both have good careers. We got a great family. I mean, it all worked out.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that, and thanks for sharing. Yeah, we've all been through really hard times, and I think it makes me laugh sometimes because every once in a while I'll catch myself where somebody's like, "Oh man, like whatever I'm going through right now," they'll be like, "Oh, that sounds hard." No, man, like I've been through hard. This is not hard, and that perspective I think is something that I really appreciate about those hard times. That when you're in what feel like hard times right now, in the perspective of when you've really been through hell, this isn't hard. That was hard.
Yep.
We can get through this.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Look, man, I've really enjoyed this conversation.
Me too.
I think a lot of people are going to enjoy getting to know you, your story a little bit. As humans, we all have so much to our lives, you know, whether it's where we were raised, things we've been through, how our career got us to where we are, and hearing your story, hearing the trajectory, some of the leadership lessons that you've shared are going to be valuable for folks, and I'm really appreciative of you joining us.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Appreciate
and that's it. We did it. It is the pod.
That was great, y'all.
Sweet.
Thanks, man.
No, thanks for having me.
It's awesome.
Appreciate it. Good conversation.